The month of May brought us the Indianapolis 500, it brought us the Monaco Grand Prix. And now, since we're at the traditional slot of mid-June, let's talk about the third race in Motorsport's Triple Crown. Let's talk about the 24 Hours of Le Mans on the Circuit de la Sarthe. And let's start off with the entry list for the 2025 edition. Something that we need to talk about before we get into the full entry list for Le Mans is the fact that we will have LMP2s at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. LMP2 left WEC as we ended up having a full cohort of HyperCARs and LMGT3s, but LMP2 still do arrive for the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Some of these places are people who have signed up, but otherwise they could be invitational slots, for example for performances in IMSA, or in the European Le Mans Series, or the Asia Le Mans Series. Different series that have LMP2 championships in them. So whilst they won't be competing for championship points, they will be competing to win, to get bragging rights, any kind of prizing that comes with it. But they will also be competing against people that they have previously competed against. Going through in number order. Starting off, we have the two Aston Martin The Heart of Racing entries, which have a special livery for Le Mans. The first one will be entered by Harry Ticknell, Tom Gamble and Ross Gunn. The second one will have Alex Riberas, Marco Sorensen and Roman De Angelis. So the two regular WEC lineups as well as the IMSA lineup, all grouped together. Then we have our first invitational, the number 4 Porsche Penske Motorsport, which is the IMSA team. It is Felipe Nasr and Nick Tandy. Their third driver is going to be Formula E World Champion Pascal Wehrlein. The number 5 will have its lineup of Anne Lauer, Christensen and Jaminet, whilst the number 6 will have Kevin Estre, Lawrence Anthor and Matt Campbell. The number 7 Toyota Gazoo Racing will have Michael Kamui Kobayashi and Nick De Vries, whilst the number 8 will have Buemi, Hartley and Hirakawa. Then we have the Hearts Team Jota of Will Stevens, Norman Nato and Alex Lynn in the number 12, before we get to the 15 BMW of Dries Van Tor, Manfred Ali Marciello and Kevin Magnussen. Then we have the number 20 BMW of Rene Rast, Robin Front and Sheldon van der Linde. The Alpine 35 and 36 for Chatan, Habsburg and Malesi. Then Schumacher, Makovecki and Gounon. Then we have the second Hearts Team Jota, the 38 for Earl Bamber, Sebastian Bourdais and Jenson Button. Then we get into the Ferrari AF Corsa entries. So the first two, the ones for the Manufacturers' Championship, for Antonio Fuoco, Nicolas Nielsen, Miguel Miglina, then Alessandro Pierguidi, James Collado, and Antonio Giovinazzi. Then we have the 83 that competes for the Privateer Championship with Kubica Ye and Phil Hansen. Then we've got the 93, the 94, the two Peugeots, De Resta, Jensen Verne, Duval, Jacobsen, Van Dorn. The Proton 99 for Neil Jani, Nico Pino, and Nicolas Varon. And then we get the Wayne Taylor Racing entry and the Wayland car. So that means that these cars that typically compete in IMSA will bring to the championship for this round Ricky Taylor, Jordan Taylor and Philip Albuquerque. Then Jack Aitken, Felipe Drugovich and Frederick Vesti. Well, unless the drivers that have historically had Mercedes links get pulled out at the last minute to replace Lance Stroll. In addition to those 21 hypercars, we have 17 LMP2s. Starting off, the number 9 for Iron Lynx, Jonas Reed. Then we have Capietto and Degeru. The number 11 Proton for Roda, Binder and Vescal. The number 16 RLR M Sport with Michael Jensen, Ryan Cullen and Patrick Pilet. The number 18 EDEX Sport. This has been the one that we've seen competing in the ELMS, and likewise driver 1 JB Chadwick's been running with them in the ELMS. They will have Matthew Gilbert and Andre Lotterer in their entry list. The 22 and 23 United entries, we have in the 22 Renger van der Zande, Pietro Fittipaldi and David Heinemeier Hansen. In the number 23 Daniel Schneider, Ollie Jarvis and Ben Hanley. The 24 Nielsen car with Naveen Rao, Shembolak Bassi and Colin Braun. Then we have the Algarve Pro for Matthias Kaiser, Lorenzo Fluxa and Theo Pourchaire. The next EDEX Sport, which will have Paul Lafargue, Job van Uitert and Sebastian Alvarez. The TDS-29 for Rodrigo Sales, Matthias Besch and Clement Novalak. The Inter-Europol number 34 for Nick Bull, Jean-Baptiste Simonauer and Luca Giotto. The CLX Pure Racing entry for Alexander Malikin, Tom Blomqvist and Tristan Vautier. The number 43 Inter-Europol with Jakub Szybkowski, Tom Dillman and Nick Yellerly. Then the 45 Algarve Pro for George Kurtz, Nicky Katzberg and Alex Quinn. The VDS Panis 48 for Oliver Gray, Esteban Masson and Frank Pereira. The 183 AF Corsa for Francois Perrodo, Mathieu Vaxier and Antonio Felix da Costa. And the number 199 AO by TF, PJ Hyatt, Dane Cameron and Louis Delatraz. So that means that if you are somebody that follows IMSA and you're missing out on some of the IMSA drivers you'd often see in the LMDH GTB category, you'll find some of those names in the LMB2s this time out. LMGT3 is the biggest category with 24 entries. We'll go through all of them. Starting off, the number 10 Race Explorer of Le Mans Aston for Derek de Boer, Valentin Hazaclaw and Edo Barrichello. Then we have the AWA Racing Invitational Corvette for Oro Fidani, Lars Kern and Matthew Bell. Then a series of WEC entries. The number 21 Vista AF Corsa of Heriel Mann and Rivera. The Heart of Racing Aston Martin for Ian James, Drudy and Robichon. That is the 27. The 31 the Benz WRT for Yasser Shaheen, Thibaut Bolovavsky and Augusto Farfus. The TF Sport 33 Corvette for Ben Keating, Johnny Edgar and Danny Ukadea. The 46 WRT for Ahmed Al-Hadi, Valentino Rossi and Kelvin van der Linde. And then the number 54 AF Corsa for Thomas Fleur, Francesco Castellacci and Davide Rigon. The next non-WEC entry is the 57 Kessel Racing for Takeshi Kimura, Daniel Serra and Casper Stevenson. Then back to some WEC entries. The 59 United for Cottingham, Zosi and Bode. Then we get into the Iron Lynx cars. Two of them, the first two, the 60 and 61, are entered for the World Endurance Championship. The third one is an invitational, but has drivers that were at the last round of WEC in Spa. We'll start off with that one then, the 63 for Stephen and Brenton Grove with Lucas Stoltz, whilst the 1661 that are entered for WEC are Andrew Gilbert, Lorcan Hannafin and Fran Roeder. Then Martin Berry, Lynn Honadis and Maxime Martin. After that, the 77 Proton, Bernardo Souza, Ben Tuck and Ben Barker. The 78 Acco ASP Lexus for Arnold Robban, Jack Hawksworth and Finn Gershitz. Then after that, we have the TF81 Corvette for Van Rompuy, Andrade and Eastwood. The Iron Dames 85 Porsche for Celia Martin, Rahal Fry and Michelle Gatting. The 87 Acca ESP Lexus for Brunescu, Jose Maria Lopez and Clement Schmidt. The 88 Proton for Gattuso, Leverato and Olsen. The next invitational entry, the number 90 Manthe for Antares, Auler, Hartog and Klaus Bachler. The 92 Manthe for Hardwick, Pera and Leeds. The 95 United for Darren Leung, Shungalala, Marino Sato. The next non-championship entry being the Richard Mille AF Corsa for Custodio Toledo, Lilo Wadu and Riccardo Agostini. And then the last invitational entry, the 193 Ziggo Sport Tempesta for Jonathan Hui, Christopher Froggatt and Eddie Cheever. We also do have 6 reserve list entries. This is in case cars drop out from their respective categories so they can jump in and take over. This could be for crash damage, loss of drivers due to illness, for example. And they are as follows. First on the list is the Porsche 963 Proton Competition number 44. Secondly is the LMGT3 GR Racing Ferrari 296. Then after that is 2 LMP2s, number 3 DKR, the number 30 Duquesne, then the number 66 LMGT3 Ferrari 296 LMGT3 for JMW Motorsport, and the 6th one, number 26 Vector Sport Orica 07 LMP2. Now I'll start off with the schedule in the local time, French time +2 to UTC because it is European summertime. So, on June the 11th, on the Wednesday, you will see free practice 1 at 2 p.m. Qualifying for LMP2 and LMGT3 will happen at the same time at 6:45 p.m, with HyperCAR qualifying at 7:30 p.m. After that, we will have FP2 at 10 p.m. So, night practice and day practice. On the Thursday, on the 12th, starting at 2:45 p.m, you have FP3. Then you have nighttime qualifying. Starting off with the HyperPole sessions at 8 p.m. for LMP2 and LMGT3. Then at just after 9 p.m. for HyperCAR. FP4 will happen at 11 p.m. Then the Friday, no on-track action for the 24-hour entries. On the Saturday, the warm-up will begin at midday with the race starting at 4 p.m. local time. If you're in the UK like myself, that then goes across as follows. On Wednesday, 1 p.m. for FP1, LMP2 and LMGT3 qualifying at 5:45, HyperCAR at 6:30, FP2 at 9 p.m. On the Thursday, FP3 at 1:45 p.m, HyperPole at 7 p.m. for LMP2 and LMGT3 and at 8 p.m. for HyperCAR, before FP4 happening at 10 p.m. Warm-up on the Saturday will start at 11 a.m. with the race starting at 3 p.m. And whilst it looks like it could be dry for the race, I'm looking at the forecast that we get in the UK from the BBC, and it's suggesting a high of 29 degrees on the Saturday and 27 degrees on the Sunday with 0% chance of rain. Thursday is going to throw up quite the surprise. Whilst Wednesday will be the hottest for on-track action of the week with a peak of 32 degrees, somewhere between, I believe, 5 and 6 p.m. local time. Thursday is wet. And around 3 p.m. local time, we can expect to see thunderstorms, apparently. And that rain will persist through till the early hours of the morning, according to the forecast that I'm seeing here. Now, granted, this could full well change between me recording this on Saturday and this video coming out and actual Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday and Sunday. But do expect a chance of rain in the weekend. Not necessarily during the race, but it could throw a spanner in the works. As for how you can watch the 24 hours of Le Mans, there will be various different options available to you. I would suggest going to the WEC website to see what there is. I have a subscription to WEC TV because in the UK it's either that or going through the Discovery Plus stuff to be able to get access to Eurosport. It will vary depending on the regions, but yeah, in some countries you might actually have it on TV, even the full 24 hours. Sometimes if you look behind, say, cable networks, satellite networks, but the most consistent one, I believe, will be going through WEC TV. Now, if you look back at last year's edition, it was the number 50 Ferrari that took the win from the number 7 Toyota by 14 seconds. Number 51 was 36 seconds back, only just holding off the number 6, which is the lead Porsche. The Toyota number 8 followed them, followed by the number 5, 2, 12, 38, 63, 94, 93, the Lamborghini 19, and the Isotta Fraschini 11. In LMP2, it was the United Autosports 22 from the 34 into Europa on the 28 E-Deck. Now, remember, there was separate classification for Pro-Am last year, which was won by the 183 AF Corsa. In LMGT3, the podium was the Mante EMA Porsche, the WRT 31 BMW, and the Proton 88 Mustang, which was just ahead of the 44. But obviously, because of things like balance of performance, we won't know exactly what this is going to look like because the way that the cars are regulated can change race to race, and actually Le Mans has its own balance performance separately to what the ACO and the FIA are doing. So let's go through it for the HyperCAR class. The Alpine will be losing 4 kilos compared to its Spa, down to 1039. The Aston Martin will be down 5 kilos to 1030. The BMW down 10 to 1039. The Cadillac down 5 to 1037. The Ferrari down 15 kilograms from 1057 to 1042. The Peugeot will be up actually 9 kilos from 1030 to 1039. The Porsche will be down 14 from 1055 to 1041. And the Toyota down 16 kilograms from 1069 to 1053. In terms of the max power, in terms of kilowatts below 250k, the Alpine will lose 2 kilowatts from 520 down to 518. The Aston Martin will stay at 520. The BMW will gain 5 kilowatts back to what they were at last year at 508. The Cadillac will be up to 520. Last year at Le Mans they were on 509. At Spa a few weeks back they were at 501. So it's a massive increase. The Ferrari, they're going to have 9 more than last year, up to 517. But it is a gargantuan increase of 28 kilowatts compared to at Spa. The Peugeot will actually have less power than it did at Spa. It will be down 11 to 509 kilowatts, but it will still be 1 more kilowatt than they had last year at Le Mans. The Porsche will be up a massive 19 kilowatts from Spa, up to 513. It's 2 more than they had last year as well, whilst the Toyota will be up a gargantuan 40 kilowatts of power to 520. They were down at 480 at Spa. They will be up 12 from last year's 508 as well, meaning that they will be the joint most powerful car alongside the Cadillac and the Aston Martin. In terms of power to weight, therefore, the Alpine will be at 0.499, the Aston Martin at 0.505, the BMW at 0.489, the Cadillac at 0.501, the Ferrari at 0.496, the Peugeot at 0.49, the Porsche at 0.493, and the Toyota at 0.494. For the power gain after 250 kilometers per hour, the Alpine will be at a minus 1.9%, the Aston Martin minus 0.8%, the BMW plus 2.2%, the Cadillac minus 1.2%, the Ferrari minus 3.3%, Peugeot minus 1.8%, Porsche plus 1%, and Toyota minus 1.3%. There are a lot of changes there between Spa and Le Mans last year and Le Mans this year, but the main beneficiaries from this will be the likes of BMW, who see an increase in their power when compared to Spa and Le Mans last year, and that's pretty much it. I mean, Aston Martin will have an improvement on where they were at Spa, as will Alpine, but Cadillac is getting a massive nerf compared to Spa. Ferrari is getting the worst hit of all, actually, in this category. Well, at least you could argue that. You could also argue the Toyota is relative to what they had at Spa, but with the max power buff that they're getting, it's kind of hard to argue, really. Because what it means is their max power after 250 kilometers per hour for the Alpine is 508, the Aston is 516, BMW 519, Caddy 514, Ferrari 500, Peugeot 500, Porsche 518, and Toyota 513. Now, in terms of the max energy, Alpine will gain 2 megajoules. Aston Martin, well, it's interesting the way they measure it because, well, fuel counts towards it. I don't see anything from this graph from the race, which I'll link down below. The BMW will be up at 927, the Cadillac at 916, the Ferrari at 905, the Peugeot at 898, the Porsche at 926, and the Toyota at 923. Now that should mean that the stints all end up working out relatively the same length, so it'll just be to do with energy consumption. It's not like, the gap between, say, the BMW and the Peugeot is a lap. In theory, they should still have similar times for lap time as well as stint time, and as a result, similar numbers of laps per stint. So who are the ones to watch? Because convention would dictate, since they've won all of the rounds of WEC this season, and they've won the last 2 Le Mans, you put your money on Ferrari. But at the same time, it seems the safest bet because it's a Ferrari. You can always predict a Ferrari's going to be up at the front. You could do the same for LN GT3. But we won't see what this BOP looks like until the cars hit the track, and even then, they reserve the right to change the BOP mid-event. We've seen it before at Le Mans, where teams have purposefully sandbagged in different categories to try and better their BOP position for the actual race. I'm pretty sure we've seen Ferrari be somebody who's done that in the past in the GTE era. I'm pretty sure we saw Porsche and Ford do it too. So it could be that even this final BOP that I've just talked about is not the actual true final BOP. I would expect over a single lap. Watch out for the likes of Cadillac in terms of sheer power. Watch out for Alpine in terms of the net gains that they've been getting. I reckon that Toyota could be quite a safe bet as well, given that last year was actually pretty competitive for them. This year hasn't started off too competitive in WEC, but they've still got a lot of gains coming their way this year. But also don't, rule out the likes of Porsche. They've been great in IMSA, and they've brought over their IMSA winning crew and added to it an FIA world champion in Pascal Wehrlein. Yeah, it's going to be a thing of who can make it through without incident in 24 hours. It's a 24-hour race, not a 24-hour sprint split up in multiple different races. Anyways, ahead of Le Mans, those are my thoughts, those are my feelings, those are my emotions. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching and joining, folks, and hopefully I'll see you in just over a week when we can talk about all of it. Bye-bye for now.